oh, a woman's body is now worth the amount you give her for whatever reason, an amount she asked for or didn't ask for. What happened to that man cannot provide, that man cannot respect women, that man cannot sit and watch empowered women. What happened to that? You have no reason whatsoever to be killing a woman. Women living as their authentic selves, just like men do. I don't know if you listen to the tone of that thing. Women having to carry placards and actually saying, oh my God, Kanyefe and John, please just let me exist in peace. Let me go to work. Let me wear clothes in peace. He called me, you men-hating bitch. Where are your dead bastards? Hi guys, this is Patsy Givenchy and it's yet another amazing episode of That's How Patsy Sees It. And on today's episode of How to Woman, we are going to look on a lot of things, but the baseline is just one. We are talking about women. So from women's sexuality, from sexualizing women, from just liberating women, from agitating for women's rights, to feminism, to so many things that just make sure that women are just on the front line and women are seen, because we said to be loved is to be seen. And so all I'm going to ask you is, as you're watching this particular video, if this kind of conversations intrigue you in any way whatsoever, just like, subscribe, comment, just let us have an interaction. Let us have like an amazing time. Let's converse. Let's just engage each other. Let us pick each other's brains on different aspects of life. And most importantly, I think the whole of these episodes, the YouTube channel as a whole, I think will all be about just women and just how to just enjoy life as a woman, how not to be scared, how to just live your life. So we'll be in the kitchen, we will do makeup, we will do interviews. But this particular episode, the first episodes are dedicated to just getting angry and just agitating and just conversing and just calling people out, and most importantly, educating. So without much further ado, let us just dive into our exciting conversation. And so the very first thing is about women's sexuality. For the longest time, it has been considered a taboo. Should you talk about sex loudly, even saying the word sex, everyone turns and they're just like, oh my God, she is loose. She is such a, and I'm just like, why not? Sex is literally like such a pleasure point. It's such a source of pleasure for so many people. Of course, counting out the asexual people, we don't want to sound like we are bringing erasure of any kind. But for anyone who engages in any form of sex, sexuality is just it's a topic like you want to just have fun with, because now from sexuality is where we just explore different aspects of life, the actual act of penetration and whatever, self-pleasure, gender, and sexual orientation. And we have sexuality is such a broad term, and people tend to just throw this word sex, sexuality, just throw it around. And I think most people actually don't know the real reason or the real meaning of sexuality. For example, do you know what sexuality means? Because yes, every time you hear sexuality, I'm sure what comes to your mind is the act of, someone else penetrating the other. But that is not what sexuality is about. Yes, that could be part and parcel of sexuality, but it's not the major aspect of it. And that is why even when like in school, when people want to introduce sex education, when they wanted to introduce sex education, there was so much controversy around it, a lot of discomfort, people shifting their seats, and they're just like, munafunza watoto nini? And I'm just like, no, you can't teach sexuality to kids. You just let people discover who they are. You help them discover who they are. You make it easier for them to just maneuver through life in a way that is not naive and unsuspecting, because most people just say, you know what, I was just doing it, nikambiwa I'm a virgin and I can't get pregnancy from the first penetration. And there you are holding your 14 years old. And I'm just like, do we want more of that? Do we want more of accidental children? Of course, children are beautiful, but we want people having children at the right time and at a time they find convenient. And so right now we're just going to take, how to woman and just take womanhood as a whole and just exploit from a point of sexuality. So we will talk about different things, different delicious things, how to just pursue that point of pleasure and how to just enjoy your womanhood. Because why not? And when we talk about women, it's women in all their diversity. So here we are going to tell authentic stories. We are going to have authentic conversations. We're not going to force anything. It's not about the cameras. Of course, the cameras must be here so that you can hear what conversations I want to bring forth. But I wish I could just, collect the whole world and bring them into a room and just have these conversations, progressive conversations. And so right into it. The first thing we're talking about, of course, is just how women have started embracing conversations around sexuality and just owning up their sexuality and not letting anyone dictate what it is to, explore your sexuality. A point of pleasure, people will tell you, for a woman, your pleasure point is when this man reaches his destination. And destination, we mean like when that man comes. But then, you know what? We just like, no. Hell to the no. Pleasure is when actually you feel within your own self that you've actually achieved whatever it is you had gone to, get there. And that is an orgasm, baby. And so, yes, women will talk about their orgasms more. Women will be more liberal. And whenever you're having things like painful sex, people are even scared of saying, you know what, when I'm having that, penetration experience, it's not the most enjoyable, like people say. It's painful for me. And I think people are coming forth. But at the same time, like we always say, we can't now assume everyone is there. There are still people who can't sit in the discomfort of talking about sex. And in this particular episode, in this particular podcast, we're going to just experience, just take it slow with them. Of course, I don't want to scare you guys away because I'm here to just help you warm up to the idea of just talking about your sexuality in a more free way. And even when I talk about that, of course, I cannot leave out my LGBTQIA plus people because I think these are the most targeted conversation when it comes to, matters, family. People say, you know what, this is a group of people that is set to come and break the family dynamic. Is that true though? That is misinformation and disinformation because like we always say, the way you lead your life is like a recipe. One person loves jollof, the other one loves white rice, the other one loves pilau, but at the end of the day, that is still rice. But now people want to say, you know what? No, if it's not father, mother, and children, it's not a family. But it is. It is. It can be two women and a child. It can be two men and a child. It can be a trans man and a trans woman, and that is still a family. And of course, you're not there in terms of conversation and legislation and everything. But that is where we have this conversation because these conversations must be had for things to actually start bearing fruit. Otherwise, everything will be infertility. If we don't put it out there that actually this is a group of people that exist, this is a group of people that needs to be heard, and this is a group of people that needs to be seen to be loved. And so, let us just, start pala too. We're not in a hurry. Of course, you'll be subscribing, and then me on the other hand, just giving you the juice, just getting to the gist of it, and just having fun, just having this conversation. It's an episode I didn't intend to shoot, but I was just like, you know what? What is the harm? Let's talk about it. And so, women's liberation is just something you can't miss to talk about whenever we talk about women's sexuality. Because for a woman to own up her sexuality and say, you know what, I can have my sexual health in order and in the way I like it. I can go for checkups whenever I want to. I can go, for different procedures, hate to say, the way I like it without having to think about other people. Because more often than not, the conversation is How will that person feel? How will the sexual experience be? Because I just remembered something. What is this thing? And I want people maybe to react about this in the comment section. When people are having sex, where does this statement about sex is painful when you use condoms, or a man experiences more pleasure when using a condom? What kind of madness is that? Because I'm just chilling and I'm just like, this thing is so thin. It's almost like, a human, it's almost like a membrane. When you used to study biology, you'd get those membranes out of, like a very thin, but then you want to insist that you don't want to have it because sex is not as enjoyable. And then I'm just thinking, misinformation, disinformation. So just to clarify, misinformation is when a wrong information is passed without the intention being diabolical. Disinformation, there is a premeditation of, a diabolical intent when you're passing this information. And so I don't know if this is actually misinformation or disinformation, because more often than not, people come and tell me, you know what, when you have sex, like condomless, it's more pleasurable, it's not painful, and I'm just like, are you sure, or is this an idea that someone sold to you and now suddenly you have digested it to be true? Because I don't think that is true, and I would love people to just tell me, like, what do you think about some of these things, and what are the other myths that people have created around it. And so I would love to hear your views about that. And yeah, I mean, that is something I'm really curious to know. I don't know where all these arguments come from, but if you ask me again, I always make things about gender issues. This sounds to me like a plot for just men to just, skillfully just run their business. But I'd love to hear. I would love to hear. I don't say whatever I said is cast on stone. And so, yeah. And then the next thing is about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. And so, limiting beliefs, when you think about them, I don't know what comes top in your mind, but when I think about them from my perspective, it has things to do with kinks, fetishes, things to do with family planning. That is a topic that people say it's a gray area, when in real sense it's not, because I don't see why anyone should be imposing motherhood on a woman. That is again taking away from humanity. Again, we have stuff to do with different sex and style positions, kind of thing. And these are things people have they've found a way to limit, and of course the limiting again glorifies some aspects or every aspect of patriarchy, because it seems like women are there to make someone else's experience feel better. And I'm just like, are women sex objects, really? No, girl, choose yourself if you want to, that is. And so, yeah, there are such things about beliefs. And then we have the entitlement to women's bodies. Entitlement to women's bodies. And even when you think about people who impose motherhood on people, these are people who are very, very entitled to women's bodies, because this is a person who just sits and thinks, I can actually make this woman to become pregnant whenever I want to, and I can make sure that she gives birth to that particular baby because it serves my purpose. When in real sense, it has nothing to do with the woman. The person whose body is in question, the person who will go to that labor room, dancing in all manner of styles, she's not been consulted. And it's unfortunate that there are people who have they have thought and actually, I don't say embraced, but they are complacent in that particular situation. They don't seem to be bothered, but in real sense, you can tell they're not happy. They're not happy because women are only happy when they're getting, orgasms one after the other, left, right, and center. I know that is what excites you, but you're too scared to go for it. Go for it, girl. It's your call to action. Start moving. Start liberating yourself. Break away from those chains. The next one about entitlement is the general now entitlement to women's bodies. You're walking on the streets and you're wondering, I asked about a question, do you have to think about, outfits, like I'm wearing these outfits, what will someone think? And I was just like, when did people dressing up become about other people, that a woman's dressing is about getting validation, or it's about giving another person an experience. And that is why there's all the touching and all those creepy things that people do, catcalling. That is a part of entitlement. And also, even for people who have like indulged in the rape culture and pedophilic kind of acts to anyone, that is also a form of entitlement, because I don't see how a no does not mean a no to you, and you have to keep on pushing and at times force yourself on people. And I need to just slide this in. I mentioned it recently on my socials that consent is not a gray area like people want to make it. A yes should be enthusiastic, and if you have to push and tell her, you know what, I bought you an iPhone, I bought you this piece of land, I bought you this, you are my wife, because people actually think that intimate, intimate partner, persons violence, IPV, is it intimate partners or persons? IPV is not a thing, because they're just like, if he's your husband, how is he raping you? But yes, he married a wife, not a sex toy. I mean, you can people have feelings. This is a human being you're dealing with, and so make it make sense. Of course, you won't manage to make it make sense how you just decide you can have sex with her at whatever point of her life, whether she's stressed or not, whether she's ready or not, and then you're. And even back to legislation, I'm just like, there seems to be a lot of loopholes in these particular things, because I'm yet to confirm that there's a law that can actually get a person to be jailed because they raped their wife. I don't think there is. I don't think there is. But then activists and advocates are coming in and making noise about it, and I'm hoping we realize whatever it is we are fighting for. Because like I said, unless it's put into the policy making process, unless it's written on paper, then it's as good as null and void. The most we can do is just keep pushing and use different routes and try proving a lot of things. And I'm just like, why should we even take a person who has been through rape, such a grisly and disgusting experience, trying to make them relive their moments and trying to prove the reason why they are victims? That is so inhumane, if you ask me. And I hope whoever it is that is supposed to be hearing this is hearing it, because there's a lot that needs to be done. A woman does not have to come and prove. Does not come to prove. And even go for tests and everything, and being told to do things like don't shower and don't do some crazy things that have to do, and you have to walk around with your perpetrator's DNA on you just because you're trying to prove that you are the victim. It's crazy. It's crazy. The next one is slut shaming. Slut shaming. You get raped, and the first thing that people ask, of course the victim blamers, is, what were you wearing? It's whatever you're wearing that provoked them. Oh, yes, it's whatever I was wearing that provoked the rapist. He was not a rapist, no. Until he saw me. No. Slut shaming. And it's even more disgusting when it's coming from women. The women are just like, what? Some of you, mnajileteanga hizi vitu, like you bring these things upon yourselves. I'm just like, it's giving such a disgusting pick-me aura. I'm just like, can you just shut up? Just shut up, girl. You don't have to say anything. Just shut up. Just shut up. I know it's an attempt to compensate for silence, but whatever you're saying, this is not the hour, it's not the time, and there's no time that will come that you'll have a platform for you to table your insensitivity, your victim blaming ways, I don't know. You can't be having pity on perpetrators. That is so wrong. And this actually reminds me, very recently we had the anti-femicide march, the end femicide march in January, and we were pressing for hold those people accountable, teach your men. We want all those cases that are in court to actually be, we want a hearing and we want a judgment as quickly as possible. Because I said it's not fair to just take the family of the deceased. It's unfair to just take the bereaved through so much, mental torture of having to relive these moments every time there is a hearing, and we were just like, what we are asking for is let these court cases be, the hearing to be more fast. And then our prayers were answered. And then what happened? A perpetrator is going to jail, and people are actually taking pity on him, and they're even not starting to blame anyone that is trying to act as if they're not sympathizing with his situation. And I'm just like, the lady who is 6 feet under, who is fighting for her? Who is making sure that her spirit gets a little bit of peace? Why are you sympathizing with a person who actually embarks on a journey, hours of journeying, just going to hack a woman? And the reason being, you've sent her several thousands of shillings. Oh, a woman's body is now worth the amount you give her for whatever reason, an amount she asked for or didn't ask for. There is no reason whatsoever for anyone to be entitled to a woman's body. And if we are going to as low as saying that even your own wife that you have married, that you can't just force yourself on her, I don't see how a person who has not, they're not even your partners, just because they sent you they bought you things, or they did this, and now they think it's a favor that they deserve. Deserve is not even the word. Entitled. They feel entitled to your body. They feel entitled to your being. And they even feel like they are entitled to a position that only God holds. Taking life? No. The next one is people there's a sense of people over exaggerating their importance in women's lives. And so when I think about this, I'm just like, so many things women are supposed to be getting, so many privileges women are supposed to be getting, but for whatever reason, people think these are favors they're doing women. For example, the gender parity when it comes to representation in parliament. Why do we have to be told that this process it's progressive? What is even progressive? Because these are just words you toy around with just to make sure that justice is not actually being delivered, and no one is fighting for it because there is no grounds for that. Because when they say to attain the gender rule, the fraction that is supposed to be there, for them to say that is a progressive move. What is progressive? Is that there is no women, and so we have to wait for women to be born, for women to get representation. We have women who are educated. We have women who have like what it takes to actually be in those positions, but they won't get it. Courtesy of patriarchy, but you don't want to admit that. It's just because people think that no, this position it's only a man who can hold. Yes, the only men the same men who can't even hold their families together want to be the men who are being taken there to represent people. And then when it's the other way around for a woman, now suddenly it's that woman cannot keep a man, that woman cannot do this. What happened to that man cannot provide, that man cannot respect women, that man cannot sit and watch empowered women. What happened to that? Why is it always women being asked to look inwards? These are things that actually women should be getting. For example, very recently there was an encounter during a Kenyan event, and one of the bouncers was busy sexually harassing the women, and then after a lot of pushing, can you imagine trying to push people to see that these women were actually assaulted and justice need to be served? After pushing, after screaming, after agitating, after so many things going into process, finally this guy is somehow forced to, I say forced to because they never take accountability, forced to take accountability. And then people now come online to say, oh my God, congratulations to those leaders who actually saw to it that justice was served. And I'm just like, congratulations for what? They receive a salary for that, so they owe us. Whenever anything is not happening, they need to be doing it. And so for you to sit there and act as if, oh my God, this leader was supposed to be taking care of children, and now she has done what she's supposed to do. Now suddenly we should be having a golden bazaar and you know what, a party, and women should be called come to dance celebrating people who are doing things that they were supposed to be doing in the beginning, but someone had to come and make a lot of noise for them to do it. That it's crazy to my ears. It's crazy to my ears. That is why even for representatives who are in parliament, whenever people like go there and make a billboard, for example, about periods, and now everyone is just like, oh my god, that is such an icon. Viva! Oh my god, she's doing the most. I'm just like, she's doing the most? No, she's doing the very little. Because that is what exactly they are paid to do. That is exactly why they were voted into office, to do whatever it is they are doing in a very, very performative way. And this is what informs now my topic around advocacy and activism. We have a lot of infiltrators. We have a lot of performative activism. People, we could be on a march, we could be on a journey, we could be in a movement, we could be in an organization, but people have their different reasons. We don't have to sit and assume that, oh, this person is queer and so automatically they are a good person. This person is a woman and so automatically they are a good person. This person is this person is an advocate. This person is an activist and so automatically they are good. People are there for different reasons, and as soon as they get their cars, as soon as they get that grant, they are gone. They are gone. A person was anti-FGM oriented, and now suddenly they have gotten whatever it is they wanted, and now the motivation has gone down. These are people we are actually smoking out of the system. We are smoking out of the system. We are going to cancel their spaces, create new ones, and we will not allow performative people to infiltrate into our spaces, because they are making this space to look like as, a clown arena. It looks like a joke. It looks like it's not serious, because we can't have people making a living off people suffering. That is crazy. I think it's wrong. It's unethical by all means. And I don't know. I don't even have any more word for it. But yes, we should stop over-exaggerating importance of certain characters in women's lives. You're supposed to be fighting against FGM, and now suddenly, because you have handled one case, now suddenly curtains should be closing down on you, and you should be like, oh my god, what a show. What a show for what you're supposed to be doing. No, you need to rest. Take a seat. The next one is killing of women. Femicide. Femicide is something we cannot overemphasize when it comes to women's sexuality and women owning up their sexuality and women running the business. And I'm really glad women are actually running the business and standing on it. Because, a funny bit, I don't know if people know, but from the statistics that have been submitted, most of femicides, like, the biggest number of women dying due to femicide, that is what I intended to say, are people who have actually been killed there by their partners, by people who are intimately close to them. Which means this is just a quote-unquote proof that actually this is something that depicts how entitled people are to women's bodies. Because we all know what happens in a point of intimacy. And so someone thinks by giving you that money, by someone giving you that box of pizza, how crazy, it's even laughable. By a person giving you whatever it is they're giving you, now suddenly they think they're entitled to, your honeypot. And they can access it whenever they want to access it. And whenever they can't access it, now suddenly it's a problem. It's a cause for national, emergency. And now they're like, if you can't give it to me, I'm going to silence you. And I'm just like, what is happening? And that is why even I feel like most perpetrators feel so safe. For example, we've also seen people dying in their line of duty, I want to say, the sex workers. And I'm just like, these people actually kill them very well, knowing that no one is going to come and start fighting about the same. Because as soon as you bring sex work in the mix, everyone will say, but that's a taboo. In whose words? Women can have sex whenever and whoever they want to, as long as there is consent. And I don't know why there is the double standard that a man can have. I'm not trying to say that I want another side to be matriarchal or whatever. It's equity. It's not even about equality because equality has so much obsession about numbers. And so far, I think we have equality when it comes to numbers. We have so many members of parliament that are women. But what are they doing? Pick me's. Yeah, supporting patriarchy and saying these women who are on the streets fighting against femicide, let them talk to their children to stop receiving money. You're receiving money from your salary. Who is killing you for that? You have a whole detail. And so, which means perfectly you can see that chances of you being killed are actually very high, but somehow you assume, you know what? I'm immune to the system. I'm immune to the system, which is not true. Women deserve to have control over their bodies generally, and most importantly, their sexuality. Because it seems to me like people have not made peace with this. We are not in 1901. Women are their own beings, and women don't exist as a support system for someone else. I think that is also something I want people to get out of their mind. Women's role is not to be a support system, to complement, to do whatever. If we are complementing, we are complementing each other. Not one side complimenting the other and then you're just thriving. And that is why even when it comes to women's sexuality, oh my God, my points are really, I'm literally having a moment of intrusive thoughts. When a woman is pregnant, her life literally pauses, and the person who is actually responsible for that particular pregnancy, the life goes on. And I'm just like, if this is not like a clear depiction of how patriarchy has come to play in as far as making women like just destabilizing and making them disabled to maneuver the capitalism and everything. Because I'm just thinking, if you have to go on a break for about 3 months, you're not going to work, you're not doing anything. And to you, if you have an employer that is not understanding, they're not going to pay you your dues, or they're going to cut it by half. You have to be working when you're on your periods and no one wants to understand. They want you to show up as the best version of yourself. And by best, I mean vibrant. You're not allowed to show that like you're feeling pain. Till when? Till when? Till when? And then these are still the same kind of bosses who will be paying women half or even a third of what a man is getting after a woman has been through all these cycles of life, from periods. There are those women who have endometriosis, there are those people who are struggling with different things. And I'm just like, until when? And that is where now feminism comes in. And I'm not sure even people understand the whole point of feminism. Feminism is just here. It's not a tug of war. It's not a competition. It's just a call to action for people to have a conversation around the fact that a woman does not have to work 4 times as hard as a man to get the same pay that the man is getting. That is what feminism is all about. And the question I always ask people is, would you like it if your daughter was in that position where they have to keep on justifying themselves? Would you love it if it was your mom? So would you love it if it was your wife? Okay, women are marrying men that hate them, so I would not be surprised. But then if it was your mom or your sister, I'm sure you don't want that for them. But now, like I said, people assume that these stories are far-fetched. They don't relate to us. It cannot happen to us. That woman being killed, no, it can't be my sister. My sister is the best when it comes to morals. Because again, whenever things to do with femicide are brought to the public eye, the fastest things to do is the moral fabric. What was she doing? Why was she in a closed room with a stranger? And I'm just like, why not? Why not? Why not? You have no reason whatsoever to be killing a woman. You don't have any reason. You do not have any reason. Stop even thinking about it. I know you're already thinking about it. The only thing you're going to think about is how to subscribe to this particular channel so that I can just help you take a deep look inside and realize, you know what? There's no one that owns women. Women don't belong to anyone. Women deserve the freedom. Women deserve to have a life. Women deserve to have the best things in life. Women deserve just what a man deserves. But somehow, most people don't agree with this. Most people think that, all the good things should be going to men, and then now the overflows, which rarely happen, is what that should be going to women. Women are not secondary beings. Women are human beings just like everyone else is. And I don't care the amount of conditioning that has been done on you for you to justify, what, I was raised in this and this type of way. What happened to therapy? Go to therapy and face those particular struggles. Go to therapy and just fight those, ghosts in your closets, because more often than not, you are transphobic, you are homophobic, you are whatever you are, courtesy of projecting. You are in your glass doored closet and you're trying to make sure no one finds out that you're actually in that particular closet, yet we know. Because all these things are not even coming from people who are trying to convince us. They are disagreeing with themselves so much that their conscience can't let them to live without trying to convince themselves that whatever they are saying actually makes sense. Because more often than not, it doesn't. It doesn't. The next thing is women living as their authentic selves, just like men do. It's something very simple. Women living as their authentic selves, as men do. And when I say about authenticity, it's about a woman does not have the need, does not feel the need, does not find the need to even fake an orgasm just to make a person who is not performing feel better about themselves. Yeah, I know you're just like women showing up as their authentic selves, but they are. No, they're not. They're trying to, try to massage someone's ego, which is even non-existent, trying to massage someone's masculinity, which doesn't even exist, trying to stroke egos that are already dead, because these are the men who are killing women because of one reason or the other. These are the men who are killing women just because they cannot sit and watch their wives get promoted in the same workplace. They're just like, but that cannot happen. I'm just like, you washing a dish, you coming, you changing that diaper. Is your thing falling off? I'm really trying not to make you uncomfortable, but it's not working, because these conversations must be hard as they are. Because it's very, very, it's saddening, it's so worrisome. I'm just like, what? When did we get to this? When did we get to this that we have to just sit to people and tell them, you know what? Women deserve to live. Women deserve. I don't know if you listen to the tone of that thing. Women having to carry placards and actually saying, oh my God, Kangethe and John, please just let me exist in peace. Let me go to work. Let me wear clothes in peace. Let me exist in my peace. Let me take charge of my body. Let me decide how many kids I'm going to pop. It's so unfortunate. Women, I don't know. Everyone, I want to get into a conversation that someone tried to get me into, but not in the right way, and so really we didn't really get to have it. It's about people saying that anyone who is an activist, advocate, or feminist are necessarily men-hating, and they are bitter. They call them bitter bitches, so to say. And I'm just like, this person who actually comes and starts throwing these kind of statements at me. What is really going through their head? Is their head, is it brains that are in there actually? Is it anything that actually sounds so good in their head when they're saying it? Is it something they actually go and sleep and just premeditate and just go soul search, self-deliberate, and just say, oh my God, that was such a banger point I dropped back there? What is usually going through their minds? Because more often than not, it's just us fighting for equity, fighting for equality, let women be able to decide on their SRH needs. Let women just exist freely. Let women, venture into those jobs that were initially meant for men. Because I'm seeing so many men becoming nail artists. I'm seeing so many men becoming chefs. I'm seeing so many men becoming hairdressers. So many of them in the cosmetic industry, and I'm just like, oh my god, bravo to them. Why is it that now your faces we have to stretch them with an iron box for you to straighten it, when a woman is trying to be an electrician, a woman is trying to be, something else, a woman is trying to be a priest? Why is there discomfort? Why are we shifting? Yes, why are you trying to switch off? Why? Why are you trying to say that we are triggering you? It's because we are saying the truth. More often than not, triggers come as a result of things that you're constantly trying to run away from. Because feminism is actually going to exist. It's not happening in the most seamless way. It's not very smooth, but feminism is happening. Yes, we realize that feminism, we thought it's women fighting for women's rights, and then we realize we actually have pygmy women who are getting in those positions and starting to, become part of patriarchy, and that was an intersectionality when it came to feminism. And now feminism is growing over and over, but the bottom line is what feminism is here to do. Feminism is here to make sure that Jane does not have to work 6 times as hard as John for them to get equal treatment. Jane does not have to do all these somersets we have to do on the streets to make sure that she is not raped. Jane does not have to come and start doing several acrobats. I don't know if y'all are aware about what really goes into organizing, the work of advocacy and activism, the amount of getting dragged by your edges you have to go through, the amount of... So I want to just give an instance that happened immediately after the End Femicide March. So I was on X, and this man, oh my god, he's not a man. I don't know what he is. I don't know what being that is, because it's not a human being. But then this man came and asked me, how are you doing? No, he called me, you man-hating bitch. Where are your dead bastards? That was what and I was just like, because of course I knew what he was referring to at this particular moment. He was referring to people who are actually pro-choice. People who say that, you know what, if you conceive under the wrong circumstances, then it's okay to terminate that particular pregnancy because women have a right over their bodies. And so he was trying to, make some kind of joke, which was not funny around that. And no, I just asked him, did you want to eat them? Are you hungry? Why are you projecting? And of course, if someone came across that thread, of course the likelihood of me being told that I'm bitter is very high. But the question is, why does anyone find the need? Why does anyone find, the audacity, the nerve, this madness that people actually think, that a man actually thinks he can sit and actually start mansplaining about what happens in the female body and start saying, you know what, I'm your employer, and so during your periods you don't actually deserve a break because it's something you can... I've just remembered something. So, and this is as I wrap up about this particular thing. When it comes to feminism, when it comes to just dealing with populations that are trying to get liberation, are trying to agitate, are trying to organize, can we stop just finding the need to just say random words and I think in our minds we are helping them fight. Like this certain honorable person that came forth with a statement that what a man can do, a woman can do bleeding. Why is a woman doing anything when bleeding? Women should be resting during their periods. Women do not need to be doing anything when bleeding. And I'm sorry if you've been wearing that as a tag of honor, as a crown of honor, that you have been doing a lot during your periods. Women should not be doing anything when bleeding. And that is why we are fighting so hard. And so for a woman to come forth and put such a statement in the public eye and making it seem that actually women enjoy doing things when they are bleeding, it's crazy. And these are some of the performative activists I'm trying to just speak against and call out, because I actually now wonder, it looks to me like some kind of cloud chasing where you want to make this statement that is actually catchy and that will get you more traction and more clout, versus you actually trying to get a solution for these particular problems. Because I'm just wondering, there was that boss who is actually very adamant about not letting the female employees rest during their periods, or when they're having their had, hormonal imbalances, just because he has like whatever conditioning that he has been through, and then you come forward with such a statement. Do you think they're going to learn? They're going to say, oh, this is a woman speaking. And so I'm just like, I see people saying the wrong things, and I'm just like, I feel like taking cotton and just stuffing it in your mouth, because whatever is coming out of it is sheer rubbish. And like, the amount of power you hold is so much, because when you're a public figure, you have a lot of following, and whatever you say is automatically taken into action. And that is why we were so bitter and so specific. And I loved what the Gen Zs did, the Kusalimia Watu initiative. When you don't speak up, and you have a certain crowd that is following you, then automatically we come and call you out and we cancel you. When you're trying to be silent or acting tone deaf about a situation, then any person who is following you automatically thinks that it's okay to be silent. And it was very sad to even see the biggest legislators, the biggest members of parliament, the biggest lawmakers trying to just be quiet about women dying. And I was just like, and we saw that worked. Some people are just like, so and so did not say anything, and so this is an issue. And there we were with a long list of people, women that are victims of femicide. People are crying. Mothers were there giving their testimonies. Daughters were there giving testimonies of how their moms were killed. But somewhere, someone holding a very high position is trying to push this particular narrative that actually women dying is an issue, that they brought it upon themselves. This is crazy. This is crazy, but I'm so glad we get to have these conversations. I'm so glad we get to have platforms. I'm so glad we get to generally just speak about women issues, just tackle the kind of burdens that women are carrying that they don't actually get recognized for. Things like fighting endometriosis and not enough research going into it, and then people acting like, you know what, we should just be breathing. We should just be breathing when another woman is dying of a condition they didn't even have business, getting themselves in that particular situation. I think these conversations need to be had. Some of them are very uncomfortable. Some of them look like ratchet, but the only way to have them is through facing them head on. And so I hope you're enjoying these conversations. So far, this is our third episode, and I must say I'm really, really proud of myself. We've been having a lot of struggles. Of course, I didn't shoot in real time, so I'm going to just bust your bubble. I know the looks are different and whatever, but anyone who is keen enough, you can see I didn't shoot in real time. Electricity, KPLC, I do not know. I don't want to say anything about it. I'll just say I'm disappointed because we didn't have to struggle this much. A woman just needed to just rest in her femininity and just have fun. But that did not happen because KPLC was there to make sure that I'm on my toes shooting back to back. But I have had fun shooting these particular episodes. And so it's up to you to just recognize the hard work. Maybe I'm not there in terms of quality, and everything. Maybe it's not the kind of background you envision. But the thing is, we need to just be cognizant of the fact that we are headed there. It's a journey, and like we keep on growing, learning and unlearning. And so just do me that one favor. Just, a tap on my back. Subscribe, share, comment, like, just do those things that validate me. And just let us have a conversation, because the conversations we are having here are just authentic conversations. You're going to have them one-on-one, and of course you're going to do that very respectfully, because that's how Patsy sees it. So until next time, bye-bye.